right. Welcome to Bench Points. This is our first time recording in March. It is finally here. It's upon us. It's the most wonderful time of year. And we're excited to have you along with us through this March Madness journey. And so let's go ahead and kind of get things started. We're not going to talk about the tournament quite yet. We got a couple games we want to recap first, and then it's tournament talk. So for the first game to kind of talk about over the weekend was the Gonzaga at St. Mary's game.
Well, what do we talk about preseason? What is St. Mary's KPI on the year? Beat Gonzaga once. You done your job. You meet expectations. You get your 3% raise, and you move on to the next year. Here we are. One more year of St. Mary's getting that one dub that seems to take the load off of the St. Mary's coaching staff.
It's very confusing to me how this operates. I don't get how Gonzaga dropped this game. It's the one team you have to worry about in this conference all year. You already screwed up and dropped to Portland. How are you not ready to go for this? And I mean, you didn't just lose; you got beat fairly handedly. And I mean, this is not, to me, any question of Gonzaga being anywhere near a top 4 seed. I think they should drop them. I don't think they should be touching a top 4 seed.
I mean, they've lost 3 games: Portland, St. Mary's, and Michigan. The Michigan loss
by 900.
Yeah, Michigan loss was obviously just complete belt to ass. But the Portland is a really, really bad, ugly loss, and St. Mary's, you just expect that to happen. It's Gonzaga. I think they're getting right.
But where's the wins? Where's the wins?
Now, here's what I'm going to say. I think right now they're getting the same respect as your Purdue's because of their name, regardless of what they have or have not accomplished. The committee is going to look at that and say, Gonzaga, yeah, that's a 3, that's a 4, that's a 5. They're not going to look at it like we do and say, this team hasn't done anything to earn a 4. They've barely done enough to earn a 5. The committee just makes these wild decisions. So that's why I wouldn't be shocked to see them on a 4 line.
Your best win is Alabama by 10.
I mean, they drubbed Kentucky.
Yeah, but Kentucky's not even ranked anymore. I don't know. This Gonzaga team they may do something in the tournament. They do not deserve a top 4 seed at all whatsoever. You can't convince me because that you have a quadrant 8 loss with Portland and no real great wins to erase that. So it's EK was the only one of value in the game from the actual game. Other than that, I mean, Foster was nothing of value off the bench. It's not like this St. Mary's team is blowing people away either. They were probably going to get the benefit of the committee loving Gonzaga and wanting them to be a top 4 seed. They're going to get the benefit of that, and that's going to keep them in the tournament. But they were very bubblish coming in, and for some reason beating a good-ish Gonzaga team is going to keep them in, and that's unfortunate. But it's also sad. This is probably the last time we see this game. So I don't know what St. Mary's' new KPIs are going to be, but they've got to be redrawing up the contract here.
Well, it's probably to win the conference.
Win the conference, win the conference tournament, because that's their only hope in hell.
Yeah, I would like for them to do a home and home, set something up for the future. I'd kind of hate for this to end. All right. So for our next game, this one was interesting. Purdue at Ohio State.
Interesting. Is that the word we're going to use?
I just don't know what to say at this point. I'm kind of lost for words.
This is embarrassing. Look, Coach Painter is 0-3 against Jake Diebler. Let's wrap our heads around that. Let's wrap our heads around that phenomenal coach, Matt Painter, the one who's not overrated, the one who would you replace him with? I'll tell you who I'd replace him with, Jake fucking Diebler. Look, I was extremely optimistic about this Purdue team, and I've defended them through literally every up and down that they've had, and I've made excuses for them. I can't make excuses for this team anymore. They are so broken. Their body language is complete garbage. They're disconnected as a team. You got Braden Smith, who is doing more chirping at the refs than he is leading his own team. Fletcher Lawyer is the vocal leader of this team, and he's a cone on defense. Hell, their whole team is a cone on defense. I've never seen such a lack of effort on the defensive end of basketball. And, here's my thing. I'm going to lay the blame squarely on Matt Painter's shoulders here. Braden Smith has gotten into some hot water over some of the things that he's posted recently. He posted the Allen Iverson, I'm the MVP meme on his Instagram story. And you know what? By all means, do it. And here's the reason I'm going to say this is because for the last 4 weeks, he's been putting in about 110% effort on both ends of the floor to get 70% offensive effort and a 30% defensive effort from the rest of his team, and they're going to call that 100. I'm not a mathematician, but 70% effort on the offensive end is still 70%, and 30% on the defensive end is still 30%, and it's all garbage. This team that started 17-1 has gone 5-6 in Big Ten play at the start of the year, and it's embarrassing. They have Final Four talent and round of 64 effort right now, and that's not going to win you anything. And guess what? This comes down to coaching. You can say like the players are disconnected. You could say their body language is awful. You could say their effort isn't there. But who's at the helm? Who's had this program for 20 plus years and gets the same results at the end of the year every single year? And everybody's like, oh, who would you replace them with? Purdue's not an institution. It's a miracle they're as good as they are. I'm tired of it. Look, I'd rather be terrible and miss the tournament than have great teams put up this kind of effort under this coach year after year and fall apart in March year after year because he can't get them across the finish line. And it starts and it ends with CMP. And look, we talked about this before. We dared ask the question, is Coach Painter overrated? He just took a Final Four quality team and he went 5-6 in 2026 leading into March. We are on our annual collapse, and he is the guy holding the clipboard.
Fair.
That's how you really feel.
And you know what? I'm handling this a lot better than I had like a couple years ago when I watched us lose to Fairleigh Dickinson, a number 1 seed losing to a 16 seed, where I had a complete emotional and physical meltdown. I watched lose the year before to a 15 seed. FDU, here we are. I've watched us lose to 13 seed. Sorry, I almost said 14 seed again, but that we're saving that one. I've watched us with 10, 11, 12. I've watched us lose with this guy holding the clipboard, and then he comes out and he says the right thing. And he's like, well, we got to have accountability. Guess what, bud? The accountability is you look square in the mirror here because you're the only constant in this group. Mm-hmm. Every year the players change. Every year it's Jaden Ivey, it's Carson Edwards, it's Isaac Haas. It's, RIP to the knee of Robbie Hummel, but it was Robbie Hummel, Antoine Moore, and Juwan Johnson. And now it's Braden Smith. It was Zach a few years ago. Look, all those guys, all those names that I just said, they change year after year. Every 2 or 3 years, we get a new cycle of folks come in. But the one constant, the one hold true constant is Curtis Matthew Painter. And guess what? It is not getting better.
Yeah. We've been on this for a minute, and we brought this up in the preseason. We were talking about Painter's legacy. He really needs another Final Four run or something for him to claim a Final Four run, because right now it's so easy, especially at this point at this year. That was Edey, and the rest Edey did it in spite of Painter, and a lot because of Painter, and that's unfortunate because he's done a lot. He's rescued this Purdue program, kept it going, built them back up, like where they were the powerhouse in the state. It's just not the guy to get him over the finish line. He got him there. He got to see it. He got to taste it. But I think that's as far as he gets, and I think that's as far as Purdue gets till something changes. Like from this game, like in particular with Ohio State, like this has to be the only time that Purdue's been out rebounded by this much of a margin too.
It's Ohio State.
Yeah, and it's not like they've been exceptional or anything. And then Oscar Clough, like, where were you? Did you show up? I know at one point I was talking to you and I was like, did he get hurt? Because he got 13 minutes and no points. He finishes with 19 and 2.
You want to hear a really alarming stat here, Jake?
Crazy.
His backup,
Braden Smith
Jacobson, played 5
decent game, but
can I say that again?
Yeah.
Daniel Jacobson, Oscar backup, the one who's supposed to split minutes with him, 5 minutes minus 15. That's not even serviceable.
No.
And
the thing is,
Coach Painter,
he does that.
One guy. I wish it was too, and I'm pretty sure it's you, partner.
Yeah, I mean, Harris has been next to useless pretty much all year, outside of like a 2 or 3 game stretch. And I thought Benter might be the answer, but he's not been. And Meyer shows flashes of it, but then he can't stay on the floor. I mean, this game got bad enough that there was a Liam Murphy sighting, and that's like, I don't know, that's terrible at this point. I think he's played a grand total of 20 minutes on the year, and I mean, there's nothing Ohio State did that you couldn't have easily predicted. You knew the ball was gonna run through Bruce Thornton and Mobley Jr. It did. Bynum and Royal kind of picked up, but they have nothing off of the bench. I mean, Tilly can't stay out of foul trouble, so there was easy parts to take advantage of, and that was easily predicted, and Purdue just couldn't do it. And once again, I think that falls on coaching. I think there's some issues going on locker room wise with it's like something isn't working, the chemistry isn't working, and a good chunk of that happened is not Painter's fault, but it's also his job to get it fixed. And he's clearly not doing that. And I think this team was not put together that well. It's easy to say in hindsight. They brought back everybody. Yeah. It's hard not to, but they're missing the Lance Jones piece from that Final Four. Like, there's no real athleticism and there's no real speed. And I know you want to play slow, which is fine. You can do that, but you still need a little bit of speed, a little bit of athleticism. One, to help you on defense, and two, fast breaks. You need easy buckets when runs are happening. Runs are like you're going cold offensively, and this team isn't designed to get any easy buckets, really.
No, they're not. We sold out our athletes. I mean, let's see, Cam Hiding, he wasn't doing it for us. So who we replace him with? Liam Murphy. Then you got Miles Colvin leaves. Who do you replace him with? I mean, what? Did we?
Yeah.
Did we? I mean, we're the slowest, most unathletic team that I've ever seen Purdue field. And the best part about it is next year we get slower.
Yeah. Doubling down.
Straight. Double it down, Curtis, and tell us about what your analytics say, because teams who play against Purdue shoot on average, listen up closely, 12% better from three.
And I mean, part of that's length. You're a relatively short team.
We're victims of circumstance. No, dude, you're the most scoutable team in the country because you don't change.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're looking at metrics, the defense is killer. Your defense is like on Kim Palmer's in the 33rd, hanging out there with Illinois at 30, but like
33rd going on 300.
Yeah, it's not great. I don't know. I don't know if it's fixable in the short time that you have, which is a week and a half to get it fixed, and something big's got to change.
We have to cut this off at some point, but let's stop the we're gonna fix this. Like, I love when Painter says we need to figure this out. Nah, dude, it's March. It's like the finals come up and you forgot to go to class and you forgot to study. Sorry, pal, you failed. This is an F and you got to take it. It's just reality being a Purdue fan right now. We got an F. We're gonna have to take this one. There's no fixing it. If we come back, if we miraculously win the Big Ten tournament, which who cares? Great, mea culpa. If we somehow make it out of the first weekend, great, mea culpa. If we somehow make it to a Final Four, great, fantastic. I'll come over here. I'll be a Purdue fan. I'll root for these guys. But look, this from 2026 to right now, you're in an F, bud.
It's not great.
I know we keep going on this, but I do have to ask Sam, and your Reddit threads and different channels that you interact with other Purdue fans. Is this a common thread of frustration? I mean, I don't see how it couldn't be.
There is a probably like a 40-60 contingent on people that are placing the blame squarely on Painter right now. I'd say probably more on the 40%. The 60% are the people that, maybe think exactly like Matt Painter. And they're like, well, we're not an institution. Who else will we get? Yada, yada, yada. I was like, well, here's what I came up with is Dusty May's in his second year at Michigan, and he's got a Final Four ready team. And then I hear, well, Michigan's an institution. Well, Michigan was a joke for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? Now they're a Final Four team. Don't give me that institution shit. What the reality of the situation is, what he's done in 2 years completely annihilates everything that Purdue's done in 20. So don't give me that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And part of it is, and I think a lot of fan bases deal with this because I think Tennessee is also dealing with this with not wanting to really move on from Barnes, is like you don't want to give up what you have a little bit. And it's scary to do something new because you might suck. You might swing and miss and hire Donnie Tyndall or somebody like that, and get no tournament. And right now you're a preseason number one, like preseason top 5, year in, year out team, get the big money games, get to go out there, you can brag about that, and win some big games in the Big Ten and have it at least be talked about in Final Four conversations. But you lose Painter, and you may never sniff that again.
Yeah, and hey, look at IU. Ever since Bobby Knight left, they've gone through what 5, 6 coaches, and they don't make the tournament. Woodson was a disaster. They're not making the tournament this year, and despite a miracle, they're not going to make the tournament this year. But me personally, I'd rather have no hope at all. Personally, I'd rather be an IU fan right now and just be like, yeah, well, it's over, than be a Purdue fan and watch all this potential get wasted again.
It's one of those things. I mean, we put out the thing on social media talking about this kind of exact thing, but people always want to say, like, who are you going to replace him with? I mean, there's tons of coaching talent out there that is worth trying. It's just, do you have the balls to run out there and grab one of the guys? Because, like, I mean,
well, and here's what I'm going to say, because I'm going to use the Michigan example just one more time. John Beilein was coaching for 12 years. Again, it was starting to get towards the end of his career. Who are you going to replace him with? Well, they used Juwan Howard, right? Juwan Howard was a disaster. So they moved on and they brought in Dusty May, and instant success. It's not going to be overnight, guys. If Purdue replaced Matt Painter tomorrow, it would not be an overnight success. It might take 5 or 6 years, but then maybe we get that Dusty May. Maybe we get that Golden. Maybe we get that Dan Hurley. Maybe we get somebody with some balls to get a technical foul on the sidelines when things aren't getting called. Maybe we get somebody with some passion. Maybe we get somebody who doesn't let the rest of his coaching staff call his plays and things like that. Maybe we get a guy who says, well, we don't need a GM. I'd have to teach him 37 years of basketball. 37 years of what? Sweet 16 appearance? Cool beans. But fuck, if I wanted Sweet 16 appearances, I'd just watch Gonzaga.
Yeah, that's touche.
Well, did he really say that about the GM thing not needing? That's ridiculous, because
they could benefit from that.
It's somebody whose whole job is to put together, like, that's the most foolish comment I think I've ever seen, because every team, especially now with the transfer portal and NIL and all that, needs a GM to piece together teams. And like here's my flaw. These are the kind of players I look for in these spots, and let him go do your scouting and all that. Like that's foolish to not have that. I mean, that was one of the first things as soon as NIL came in. Duke and like Kansas and like all of those big name teams, they went and hired somebody to just do that. Like that is their whole square job. Now Shire didn't use it for this year for the transfer portal, but I mean it helps with recruiting and all. They hired one of the Nike people. I think she worked at Nike, and their was head of their basketball operations, and that's who they hired to like do that. Like it's absolutely foolish to say you don't need a GM with the way.
You'd have to teach them 37 years of basketball. Okay, Painter, what are you going to teach anybody right now? You got to teach people how to close out on a three. Stephen Hawking would shoot 40% from three against his Purdue basketball team.
It's like, I mean, and like Brad Stevens is a great example. I don't know that he's 37 years old yet, but he's doing a hell of a job of GMing the Celtics.
Yeah, and that dude took Butler, not an institution, to 2 Final Fours.
Yeah, and probably should have won the championship against Duke.
Yeah, should have, could have, would have, right?
Yeah, but I mean, that's also Butler, so who's not recovered since he left.
Yeah, I don't think that mod is the answer. All right, so moving on to tournament talk. So for today, SEC tournament is a bit of a wild, wild west scenario, which after last year having the teams that they had and a strong season, it's definitely not the same SEC, but it's still the same sort of chaos. The margins of where some of these teams could finish it's pretty wild. You want me just to read these off?
Yeah.
This is nuts, okay? Arkansas could finish 2nd to 8th. Georgia could finish 6th to 10. Missouri could finish 3rd to 10th. Tennessee could finish 3rd to 9th. And then Texas A&M, and Vandy could finish anywhere from 4th to 10th.
Jesus. Like, that just gave me an aneurysm.
Like, the SEC is not as strong as it was last year, but they're still it's one of the most competitive conferences because teams like Tennessee and Kentucky can't finish games, and somehow Missouri has wins over both of them. but and Florida.
And
Like
Florida.
Florida and Alabama are the only two that have to feel good about it because Florida's locked into the 1 seed, the SEC tournament. There's no way they lose it. I think Alabama will finish second or third. So, like, who cares if you're second or third? You're going to end up on the same side of the bracket either way, and with a double bye. So I don't know that the difference between them matters. But Arkansas has got to be real nervous. They've not got an easy finish there. They got Texas at home and at Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kentucky's got to be feeling the worst, though. Their last 2 games are at Texas A&M and then Florida at home.
Yep.
There's no way.
That's just not a good matchup. And Florida is playing their best ball.
Florida will clean house with them. I'm not worried about that. And then it's not unreasonable to think they drop Texas A&M. But this is funny to say. But I think Tennessee might be the best setup there to finish third. They got out South Carolina, no Nate and Mint. So I don't know. We'll see what happens there. And then Vandy at home, which I think Tennessee is a poor matchup, or is a nightmare matchup for Vandy. And kind of proved that the last time we played. So it's interesting on how far it swings. What's going to be funny is how the tiebreakers are going to work out, because like Arkansas is the biggest question mark. Kind of on an island in the standings at the moment. They're sitting at 11-5, so they're a game above Missouri, Kentucky, and Tennessee, and a game behind Alabama with the 12-4. But Arkansas had to be cheering as hard as they could for Tennessee to win that game.
Yep.
To get them out of this scenario, because there's a decent chance they end up playing like I think they'll beat Texas, but that at Missouri game, Arkansas hasn't played well on the road, and Missouri plays really good at home. I love Dennis Gates. There's somebody who could replace Painter.
I was about to say Dennis Gates is
an incredible coach, young coach. Like, I wouldn't want to see them at home, and that has to be an absolute nightmare scenario, because then they would drop down to the Tennessee level, and they've got the tiebreaker over Tennessee, but if things go weird, I think they could drop far, like end up playing a couple extra games, and that's the last thing Cal wants to do is run his thin team through a couple extra games. It's just, the SEC is so much fun. It is absolutely wild. And this is one of, like, we had the debate, like, college basketball or NBA basketball. This is another reason why college is so much better. The last few weeks of the season always matter so much.
Always.
For every team. And I mean, like, the Gonzaga St. Mary's game was the last game of the regular season for them. I mean, that flipped a lot going on there for what conference are they in? I mean, as far as I'm aware, that could have put St. Mary's in the 1 seed of that tournament instead of Gonzaga. Like, that's not, the tiebreakers do whatever they are. Every conference has different ones. It's just fascinating, and why this last week is going to be incredibly important, because 1, we got conference tournaments kicking off this week, and 2, you've got, massive games the way the schedules are set up for, like, on Saturday. You got Duke and North Carolina, and like I said, I know it was on Saturday. Tennessee Vandy will be big, because it'll have both those games will have a ton of meaning, both for the ACC and SEC tournament. The NCAA tournaments will be fighting for seed line. So Duke's not going to be fighting for a seed line. They've got what they've got.
Yeah, I think Duke can take a rest for the rest of the year.
Yeah. But it's just fascinating.
Which, by the way, congratulations, Duke, for your ACC championship after today's win. It's officially locked up.
We realized that Shire is not a student of history. He was supposed to lose this one, so he wins the championship here in Indy.
Yeah, he absolutely was.
And he won by 30.
Yeah. 29, Jake.
He's either giving the middle finger to history and saying, I'm going to do it anyway, or he's going to learn. He's got to lose that one at NC State when the Final Four here in Indy.
So the Arizona game I've got in on up here, and Braden Burries just went to the locker room with an injury. So he walked off with his own power, but still something to keep an eye on.
I mean, so did Nate.
Yeah. But also they, I don't know that this is just a graphic. We can cut this. But did they already give out their awards for their conference?
What do you mean?
Like they just showed on the screen, like, the newcomer of the year, and sixth man of the year.
No, they have not given those out yet. Those
Okay,
are,
so I guess that's somebody, just one of the commentators. I guess that's their who they think it should be. But I saw Toby Awaka as sixth man, which that'd be pretty awesome. I'd love that for him. All right, so before we get to our bubble talk, Jake, tell us a little bit about what's coming up with March Madness and bench points.
we are partnered up with Winwear for Bracket Pool Challenge. We are going to be giving away something for the winner. They're going to get some apparel. The package is still being worked on to figure out what they're going to do, and then we're going to have a little giveaway for the best round each round. So that way you're not dead just because you lose half your final four on one Friday. That means you can still be alive to win some good stuff Saturday and Sunday. And then throughout the rest of the tournament. So we want you to be involved as much as you can. As soon as those come out on the 15th, we will be sending that out. Make sure to comment on any of our videos on any platform, so we can make sure to send you that link and how to get signed up for that.
Absolutely. It's going to be awesome. All right. So, excuse me. As we talk about the bubble, we'll go ahead and start out here. ESPN has the last four buys being Georgia, Missouri, Texas A&M, and Texas.
Funny, it's all SEC.
Yeah.
Who do they got as the playing games?
The last four in, that would be that's what it'd be, right? Yeah. So it'd be Auburn, TCU, Santa Clara, and Indiana.
Is Ohio State in the list of?
No, ESPN actually has them as the first four out.
Okay.
Along with California, New Mexico, and USC.
Let's go ahead and fix this for everybody.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and boot Indiana out of there and put Ohio State in there, even though I don't give them a lot of credit for the Purdue win. I think that's the win that gets them in. I say that. I don't get what I mean is I don't think Purdue's that impressive of a win is what I meant. All credit to mighty Jake Diebler and Thornton. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do the system swap there with IU. No hate on IU. Congratulations on your national football championship, but you have no business sniffing this tournament.
Along the same lines, Santa Clara, what the hell?
Yeah, no.
I don't understand. Like, the metrics are fine if that's what you're looking at. Like, they're kind of just outside top 25 offense and top 100 defense, but the only win of note is St. Mary's. So it's like a circle. Like, St. Mary's beats Gonzaga, so that helps Santa Clara, and but Gonzaga beats Santa Clara, so that helps Gonzaga, but they lost to St. Mary's. And then, like, I don't understand how.
It's a revolving door of nonsense.
At no point should the West Coast Conference be a 3-bid team conference this year. I mean, the Santa Clara team lost to St. Louis, Arizona State, Loyola Chicago, Gonzaga twice, and St. Mary's once. But, like, they beat such power teams like Xavier and Minnesota and the rest of the West Coast Conference.
And don't forget, not going to test you State.
Yep. And, like, Sisters of the Poor and Skull of the Blind. Don't understand, because, like, it's not just Joe Lunardi at ESPN that has them in. CBS has them in. A lot of places, I don't see it. I don't understand it. To me, like, Bruce Pearl was catching a lot of heat for what his comments about Miami, Ohio recently, and I tend to agree with him.
I agree with him.
Because it is, are we talking, like, his whole thing is, are we talking about the 68 best or the 37 like best, like when you're talking about at largest, or the 37 most deserving? And I've always seen the tournament as most deserving. Like, you earn your way in, and that's why I don't like dinging teams for injured players, because they earned it. The rest of the guys were there, they earned it. But so, like, Santa Clara hasn't earned their route in. They might be one of the best 37 teams, like at-large teams, but they haven't earned their right to play there. They can go play the NIT. That's fine. So, like, that's one thing I don't get with the bubble. What's going on here? And I also, like, I've got issues with the first four out. Like, California, like, Joe Lunardi's got California as their top go, like the team that's right on the edge. And Ohio State's third on that list. Like, Indiana is shocking to me, like, because you're counting Purdue as just a massive win for them.
Yeah, let's be honest, it's not a massive win.
Like, I mean, they got beat by Louisville and Kentucky. I mean, I don't, like, there's nothing on their resume either that says, like, hey, yeah, because, like, Marquette, you might have thought was a good win, but they ended up being terrible. UCLA in double overtime, and then Wisconsin by 1. Like, there's nothing there on that resume either. I would much rather have Ohio State or New Mexico in with everything you got going there, because I mean, at least Ohio State, they played North Carolina to the one, like it was a 1 point game, but they just lost too many conference games. But it's for what Ohio State's resume over Indiana's all day. And like New Mexico is another team that needs more love. And it's like the Mountain West just can't ever stay relevant enough. Like New Mexico has has a win over the Santa Clara team that everybody's gotten for sure in, and VCU was been a very surprise team here. Like they dropped to Boise State and San Diego State, but I think honestly, I think both those teams are probably good enough to be in this. One of those three is going to win the Mountain West and be in for sure, but it's going to suck when you see an Indiana or even Ohio State or Santa Clara that are going to be in there over like Boise or I mean, even if you go to the A10, St. Louis, George Mason, and VCU there, and maybe even Dayton, like those teams are good enough to get in, but we've got some kind of weird metrics thing that this committee loves for some reason that will never let us see the true most deserving teams in this tournament.
Also, do you feel like I've gone back and forth on this because with TCU, it was funny. When I think of TCU this year, I think of what could have happened.
Yeah.
Played Michigan and UConn, played them both close, but they in Kansas. But I forget the fact that they beat Florida and they beat Iowa State. Those are two monster wins. To me, they shouldn't even. I mean, but they've also had some really bad losses.
Yes.
Yeah, Notre Dame in overtime hurts.
Yeah,
but the win was win over Wisconsin is nice.
Yeah, because that's going to be quad one.
Yeah, but
true.
Baylor sweeping Baylor was good, but like it was just they had this they could have been arguably in like a 1 or 2 seed conversation if you finish Michigan and you finish Kansas in overtime and you don't drop that one to UCF and Notre Dame unexcusably, but like they very well could have been up there in that conversation. This team is good enough to be in, and they're going to be very dangerous. You don't want to see them lined up. And I mean, Cincinnati is in the same boat. I think they had some very close games, or like ones that they had leads in that they should have been able to hold on to and just didn't pull it off.
I wondered if somebody was going to bring up Cincinnati because I kind of thought they might be somewhere on one of these lists.
They're they went through a stretch in the middle of the season that they can't really recover from. Like we're gonna have a very hard time recovering from because teams that in their conference that are right there on the edge, they lost to, so it's just going to be if the decision is between UCF and Cincinnati, you're going to go UCF because UCF beat them twice. Like you can't wipe away the head-to-head stuff. I mean, Seton Hall's another one that is going to be on the outside looking in. That very well could have been there, but I'm curious. What's your take on Auburn? Either of y'all's take on Auburn. Should they or should they not be in?
I think they deserve them to be in the NIT. There's just been nothing. I mean, what have they done to prove or to earn their spot? I mean, they're 6-10 in the conference.
This feels like a participation award. Like, hey, you had the toughest schedule. We got to put you in so we can make sure we encourage people to have tough schedules.
And they'd be in that St. John's win is when St. John's was trying to figure themselves out. And I know it's hard. You have to. How much does that win carry now? That's what.
I mean, they beat Florida. They've got that win too. They beat Kentucky.
That's right.
They beat Arkansas.
Yeah, it's such a weird year.
But then you've lost 7 of your last 8 with the one win being Kentucky. You got drilled by Oklahoma, Ole Miss, who I think had lost like 13 straight or something crazy.
Yeah,
like they beat by them. They lost to Mississippi State. Like the Arkansas got them. Tennessee got them good. Alabama lost that. They should have won the Alabama one, but lost it. So this team is limping into the end, and everybody seems to have them safely in. It's going to take a couple bid thieves, and I don't get that. I think if they would have gone 500 through this 8-game stretch, and just beat the bad teams and still lost to Bama and whatever, totally different conversation. But how you're playing at the end of the year matters. So whether you wanted to or not, like it absolutely matters. And even if they win the next 2, which would be LSU and Alabama, you would still be 3-7 over the last 10. You can't be in based on that. That's just bad. You're need to win the tournament to get in if you're going to finish 3-7.
Quick update here before we get into our bitch behavior. Braden Burries is back in the game, so that's good. It's good for my money as well. But I think all right. So for our bitch behavior, we've got, and Sam mentioned it earlier, Braden Smith for his post of the famous Allen Iverson practice rant, and I think that's something. Other than talking about Braden Smith, but that clip, that Allen Iverson clip, I feel like I can still picture watching that clip on my like box TV in my room as a kid. Like I can vividly remember that hitting Sports Center. So it's kind of fun anytime it gets brought up, that always is like a nostalgic clip for me. But maybe not the best time for Braden Smith to be posting that and having the same nostalgic feeling.
Yeah, my issue on this is not just the fact that he's throwing shade at his teammates after a rough loss. Whether you think he meant to throw shade or not, that's exactly how it's going to be perceived by anybody sitting next to him. His handling of the media is starting to look like he is really, really feeling his Cheerios and feeling very self-important for a guy that is going to be fighting for an NBA spot. He's too short, not athletic enough to be drafted, so he's going to have to earn everything he's got. And you don't want to be the guy that is throwing temper tantrums with the media and posting stuff that can be construed, whether you think there was a 10 or not, as talking bad and down to your teammates, whether they deserve it or not. Deservingly is not. It's just when you're in his position, you can't do these kinds of things, especially while the season's still going on. If this is the last game of the season and the year is over, it's a little more acceptable. But you got to go back to practice and go to war for these guys, and you're going to be in the tournament. Like you've got to go and play, win or die a scenario with guys that, I don't know, it's going to sit in the back of your head whether you wanted to or not. I just think that was a gross misstep by a guy that should know better.
I don't disagree with you for the most part. I'm also on the side of like, look, at a certain point when your coach talks about what a winner Bruce Thornton is, Bruce Thornton, what a winner. That's why we wanted him. Literally talking about Bruce Thornton, about how heavily he was recruiting him while, your reigning Big Ten player of the year, sitting in the locker room, gave you 4 straight weeks of 100%, 110% effort to be rewarded with the rest of the team not being held accountable and the coaches not holding themselves accountable for the performance of this Purdue team since the turn of 2026. I think at some point you just get fed up. And that's where I'm landing on this. Like, it was dumb. He's also 22 years old. It was dumb. His coach built this team. It was dumb. His coach went over there and complimented another point guard that he actively recruited, which would have been over Braden Smith. He's dumb, but it was dumb. But coach is talking about accountability and not once mentioning him or his coaching staff. So I'm going to play devil's advocate. Like, this is a locker room issue.
Mm-hmm.
And one person can get control of this, and I'm willing to bet my paycheck he's not going to. So Braden Smith made a dumb move. You made a dumb move.
When I'm saying that, I'm not saying he was incorrect.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not saying he's incorrect. I'm just saying there's sometimes you'd be right in private, and just kind of let that go till the end of the year. Because I mean, this goes back to the Jeff What's His Face interview too, where he tried to big dog him, and now you've got 2 marks that you can connect dots on. It's just for him to advance his career like he's going to want to advance his career. Those are things you can't be doing right now, and especially
I'm not saying 2 wrongs make a right here, but yes, it was not a right move in public. But you just watched your coach talk about your competition and about how big of a winner he is on an Ohio State program that didn't make the tournament last year, that's going to squeak into the tournament this year, but completely disregarded everything you've done for 4 years by talking about accountability, wishing it was one guy, wishing it was the guys that have played 125 games. Here's where I'm at. You just did that to a kid who has carried your jock for 4 years, who's carried your water for 4 years, who came back to play for you when he was offered $10 million to go to Kentucky. And that's how you're going to dog him? Okay, Paint. Be ready. This is accountability. You don't like the post. Obviously, he took it down. I'm sure the team had something to do with that. But you know what? Here, dumb move. But Paint, look in the mirror here, bud.
Yeah. And like I said, this is just because I think it was a foolish move done in the moment. Maybe 1 or 2 or 3 certain kind of beverages deep with somebody chewing it in his ear saying like, "Oh, dude, what's he saying about that?" I just do not think it helps Braden Smith to do this at the moment. It'd be different if he was like put him in Darren Peterson's shoes, where like the talent was unbelievable, undeniable. Your next job is secure. You're going top 3, whether you choose to not play in the games or not. I don't think it's going to help anywhere, any which way for him. Doesn't make him wrong at all. The Painter has mishandled this. It sounds to me that maybe there's been a little more button heads between those two
Sounds like there's a lot.
all year that hasn't made it out to the media, and it's finally coming to the surface a bit.
Yeah, well, it's the very end. You're at the end of the line. Lay it all out.
Yep. And then it's similar to Darren Peterson and Bill Self when Bill Self kind of let us see behind the curtain with a couple nights ago with a quote where he's like, "I thought we were going to have him on. I don't understand what happened." And so it's one of those that's they finally grinded it enough that it's popping off, and yeah, it's not a good look as you're going into the tournament where there's no second chance when you lose.
Yep. Well, I mean, Painter's used to losing in the tournament, so just chalk it up to another year.
Keep cashing that paycheck as long as it clears.
Yeah, every year.
Well, I think it's about time for us to go step in and take care of it here on our floor.